Hi, this is Sara Nuñez, and I'm here to share with you some recipes for the Strategic and Agile portfolio management discipline. Portfolio management is a discipline that allows business to evaluate projects and execute them according to the strategy of the organization. Not only allow you to evaluate the projects to select the right one, but also help you manage the funnel of initiative and at the end, accelerate the business results. In the next 20 minutes, you will be able to, number one, agree that indeed we have to be more strategic and agile on the way that we do business today. Second, you will get some tips and recipe to optimize your portfolio management discipline. And last, you will have an appreciation on how critical it is to raise the bar on leadership skills to deliver the results that our executives are expecting us to do. In the first objective, we have to agree that indeed we have to be strategic and agile. Why? Well, there is a 360-degree of transformation happening in the marketplace. Technology is changing rapidly, businesses are becoming more digital, new regulations take place, and the people itself is changing. Not only the millennials, but all of us, the people represent the customers, the employees, the shareholders, and everybody that is involved in the process to really deliver those projects into the marketplace. So those changes are really forcing business to make dramatic changes in their business processes, and therefore we have to be able to execute better. And by doing the first step, which is selecting the right projects, we're gonna be able to make that happen. The second reason that I like to share with you why we have to be strategic and agile has a lot to do with project performance. The PMI organization usually have a research every year where they evaluate the project performance in the market. Let me share with you where we are on the performance in project management. In the last 3 years, the performance hasn't changed much. 64% of the projects are delivered on time, within budget, and returning the investment that was promised. What happened with the rest? Well, we're not doing that well. We're losing some revenue there. But even better, the report shared with us some of the organizations that really perform better than others. They call them high-performance organization versus low-performance organization. High-performance organizations evolve their processes. They don't wait until the standards are updated. They basically take their standards and convert them into processes that will work for their organization. So there is a continuous updates in the processes that they use to select projects, to execute them, and to really ensure that the benefit realizations are taking place. So on those two reasons, number one, the transformation that is taking place, and second, the project performance of the organization, that's going to really force us to, once again, select the right projects and be able to execute them accordingly. With the 360-degree of changes that we discussed before and the concerns on project performance, it is going to be absolutely necessary for you to transform into a high-performance organization. This is where the first recipe comes into place. First thing to do is do an assessment. Evaluate the landscape of your organization. And this assessment is going to look for a couple of data points that will allow you to really focus on the area that you want to improve. And remember, when we get to the portfolio management discipline, a lot of these findings on where we need to improve the portfolio discipline is going to come from the first assessment that you're going to do across the whole organization. Many call this assessment organizational project management. It does give you a good indication of what capabilities are being utilized to support project, program, and portfolio management in the organization. It also will show you the gaps. But that's not where you need to stop on that assessment. You need also to evaluate the project performance of your own organization. And when you really understand how well are you performing and you can compare with the benchmarking information that PMI provide you, you also need to look for roadblocks that are preventing your organization to perform according to the expectations of the leaders. The roadblocks are going to be really critical because they may not necessarily be capabilities. It could be enablers that are going to need it in order to fix a real problem. When this analysis is done, a Lean Six Sigma expert can also assess why we care about the performance. What is the impact to the business if we don't change, for example, and if we should be okay with the performance of your team? When that assessment is completed, you create a sense of urgency to transform your PMO organization and your organization as a whole and become a high-performance function that will really help you deliver a project faster. This initiative has to be a transformational initiative by itself. The C-level of the organization is to support this, and hopefully expertise from your PMO organization will lead this effort to transform and be able to optimize your processes effectively. The next recipe I want to share with you in this presentation is about portfolio management. How can you optimize your process to execute the strategy of your business with excellence and drive agility to deliver the right solution to your customers? First, let's talk about a strategic aspect. The portfolio management team needs to establish a strong partnership with not only the strategy and finance, but with marketing, operations, technology teams, and any other function in the organization with a charter to execute the strategy of the organization. Everybody has to be on the same page on how the strategy is translated into projects and what changes are required as the strategy changes with the market transformation. Yes, the market transformation is always forcing the business strategy to change, and the portfolio management team is the function to connect the dots and drive those changes in the organization. They need to ensure that they have the right drivers, questions, and metrics in the project evaluation assessment and portfolio analysis data to drive effective decisions. The second aspect is agility. Your organization has to establish an agile mindset where the customer is at the center of everything you do and projects are created to meet or create their needs. You welcome changes and take risks through teamwork and collaboration. The team always works on minimum viable product concepts to allow for rapid delivery and customer feedback. Remember, Agile goes beyond software development. Agility allows the team to prioritize the projects according to the value to the organization. We may have to say no to the annual budget process because that will not enable you to really deliver faster. Therefore, the financial organization will need to transform as well, and they will need to transform that annual budget process into something more rolling up, where you allocate dollars to projects that may be strategic and also may need to apply some of that agility. So you have to give room for those investments to be allocated for projects that may not have all the financial information in the beginning. We have to encourage the team to create minimum viable solutions and be able to drive those according to the prioritized requirements that will deliver the value to the organization. So the agility mindset has to be part of the whole transformation that we are doing for the portfolio management discipline beyond project management. And as a common denominator, be able to raise the bar on teamwork. We have to bring more partnership with the functional organizations to work on the delivery aspect of those projects, but we also have to work with them in the front end, where we really evaluate the strategy of the company and translate them into the right drivers to evaluate projects and select the right one. Let's take some of those characteristics of strategic and agile and apply now this to the discipline of portfolio management. Portfolio management, once again, is a discipline that allows you to evaluate projects, ensure that they are in alignment with the strategy of the company, they are going to deliver a result that you're expecting them to deliver. It could be a cost reduction, a revenue growth, improving bottom line as a whole. It could be any of the indicator from the financial perspective. But most importantly, this discipline will allow you to evaluate the project to ensure that you are delivering the need of your customers. The portfolio management discipline consists of 3 processes. Let's talk about them in detail to tactically show you how do you incorporate some of those best practices and become more strategic and more agile. Let's go to the definition of the portfolio. That's the first thing that we need to do when we have a goal to meet in an organization. If we look at this as the whole portfolio for the company, obviously we're talking about millions of investment, and a portfolio of projects are gonna go even beyond 300 or 500 projects to be delivered at a given point. But in your organization, you're the only one who will know how much investment are you allocating for those initiatives, how many projects you're working on. So just start forming your portfolio. In the definition phase, when you understand the scope of your own portfolio, the first thing that you need to do is really understand how do you translate the company's strategy into indicators that will eventually allow you to evaluate the projects and measure the degree of alignment with your strategy. In this effort, when you already know how you're gonna do this, you can create a framework that allow you to evaluate the strategic alignment, but also do the alignment with the financial objective and how well are you aligning with the customer needs. These indicators are created by doing drivers, by creating metrics that will eventually help you really measuring that degree. A set of questions that will allow you to evaluate those projects will help the process as you move them forward. In the definition of your portfolio, you will assign the resources that will be required to do this kind of evaluation with your project teams. They are called portfolio managers. So you will define the organization that will have the responsibility to help the project managers evaluating their initiative and be ready to present. In the define phase, you also identify the governance structure of your organization. This is where the agility and the strategic mindset has to be applied. The governance structure has to be very lean. You need to identify the top 5 leaders of the organization that will be empowered to take that analysis that the portfolio manager and the project manager are going to do as far as the value of the project, be able to look at that in a holistic manner and make decisions and commitment of resources to move forward. So during the definition phase, you identify the key stakeholders that will be part of that governance body, which will be making decisions on the projects and the investments that we're going to be making. In the defining the portfolio process, you also will define the right balance of your portfolio. Where do you want to invest your money on? With what type of projects? How much money are you going to be allocating for agile development, for those initiatives that may require a little bit more of risk and more freedom to take the investment on? So that ideal balance of the portfolio is defined in the beginning of the process. Usually, these activities take place on an annual basis, but we're going to get out of the annual process and we're going to try to be a little bit more rolling up and change as we need to change. So the defining of the processes has to be a continual discipline where you evaluate or come up with the evaluation metrics and how those projects are going to be selected. Second, the right players on the table who's going to make decisions, and the balance that you really want to keep looking at and ensure that, hey, that balance is the right combination for you to deliver the success of the project. So in this rolling up process, you basically will move into the second stage when you know exactly how projects are going to be evaluated and who's going to make the decision. Then you move into the authorization phase. The authorization phase is when you make decisions based on objective data. Now let's imagine that now we have established the governance body. They may meet every month or they may meet every week depending on the need of your organization. More stand-up meeting for the governance body will be required as well. So in the process, really what you're going to be looking when new projects come into the funnel or even changes of existing projects take place, the project managers and the portfolio managers are going to be working on scoring the project with that framework that we discussed in the defining phase. They're going to be scoring the project, they're going to be doing some analysis. How well this project will support the overall portfolio of the projects, and then they will be ready to come over and share with the governance body those new ideas that will require prioritization and will require resource commitment. The authorization process is the process where decisions are made, where projects are approved Projects are canceled, are put on hold, or are recycled for more consideration. The last process and the portfolio management discipline has a lot to do with the performance itself. We don't want to wait until years goes by to see what is the health of your portfolio. This ongoing process that is required now to apply the agility and a strategic mindset will require a portfolio data analytic person taking the information of all the projects in there, looking for some external factors that may require some changes in the way that we are delivering those solutions into the marketplace. The portfolio performance process will be the enabler for the executive to see the overall health of their portfolio at any given point and be able to make decisions accordingly. This performance indicator may also give you some tips on where you need to make adjustments on your definition when you define the portfolio in the definition phase. So portfolio performance is something that you do constantly in the agile and strategic method, and it's data that go back and forth from the defined phase and the authorization phase. So with this, we have 3 processes that we have successfully discussed: defining your portfolio, authorizing your portfolio, and evaluating your portfolio health at any given point to improve your decision-making process in any given point. 2 recipes. The first one was your PMO transformation effort, where you evaluate all your processes and make transformation accordingly, right? Because remember, that 360-degree of changes in the market is forcing us to do different, to do something different and be able to select the right projects and execute them. Then we talk about the recipe of portfolio management. Be strategic and agile will require some changes in the practices of portfolio management. When you define your portfolio, you authorize the work that needs to be done, and you evaluate the health of your performance in any given point. Remember, it doesn't have to be every year. It doesn't have to be by quarter. It has to be a continuous. It has to be at any time, because the changes that are taking place in the market will force you to look at the project health at any given point. When we do these 2 things, what you're gonna really do is bring that change as part of the DNA of your organization. Portfolio health, and when it's part of the culture and the way that we do business, is when you're gonna see the impact that you're gonna make in your organization. So with that transformation that we're driving and improving the portfolio management discipline, one thing that you want to keep in mind is that all these changes will need to become part of the DNA of the organization if you want to see the impact. Remember, we have to be on the pace of that transformation, and second, we have to improve project performance in the organization. Let's move to the third objective of these 20 minutes, the people side. How do we really transform the people, and what kind of skills is going to be required for us to be successful? In this slide, you're going to be reading some words that are going to be so critical for the success of any project manager or even the portfolio managers or leaders. We have to be a strategic thinker. We have to be able to understand the business. We have to have an agile mindset. We have to improve our negotiation skills. And I can read them all. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to influence for that rapid changes that is required and be able to drive the decisions according to the plan. So all these words that you see on these slides are going to be the skill sets that you're going to need to be successful as a leader. You have to feel accountable. You have to feel empowered that you are taking something to the marketplace that will give us the return investment. In my 20 years of experience, I have to tell you, the success is on the people side. We can create any process. We can give you all the practices in the industry. We can create the best tools in the world. But at the end of the day, it's you who's going to make it different. So let's shape our leadership skills to be more effective doing the work that is required of us. Last, I'm going to end with my key messaging that I think is a little bit inspirational. but it's also required for us to really be able to make an impact as leader of the company. There is a great momentum in the marketplace, all these changes, all this transformation. We have to take advantage of that. We have to become the change agents. We have to be those one who are going to move the organization forward. We have to move that transformation forward. Remember, it's the people, it's you, it's I who's going to be able to make that happen. So be transformational, thinking while that momentum is taking place is going to be absolutely critical. The second key message here is get buy-in. Make sure that you bring the team together with you. Make sure your stakeholders are understanding the value of what you are delivering. Make sure you get the buy-in from the team and from everybody in the organization for you to be able to be effective and move things forward. Selecting the right project, working on the right capabilities, doing all this work is going to help you, it's going to enable you. So you are the one who has to bring the team together. They need to trust you. You have to value every single team member. You have to feel empowered to deliver and bring that passion forward. And anything that you do in the organization, leave your fingerprint in there. You feel proud. You feel that you have contributed to the best of the organization and the best of the marketplace itself. So bring that passion, love what you do, and be successful in everything you're doing. And leave a legacy behind, because that's what we're here for. So with this inspirational message, I want you to shape your leadership skills, because remember, the people aspect of this transformation is the most important thing that we need to care for. Processes and tools will be second. And remember, they have to evolve as we go through. We have to keep up with the changes to transform the processes. But most importantly, if we stay strong and we deliver and we provide the skill sets required to be successful, your organization will succeed. We will be able to transform with the market, and we will be able to improve project performance. Leave your legacy behind. I'm Sara Nuñez. Thank you for watching this presentation.